welcome back to Miss Candy's Classroom. So a bunch of you that saw the Widgit Online review wanted some examples of how I use this in my classroom. So we're going to do this in a couple sections. The first one we're going to do is looking at their activities section, specifically looking at the calendars, the schedules, and those sort of charts. So I want to give you some examples of some of the ones I use in my classroom. So because I have a lot of autistic students in my classroom, we use visual schedules and we use destination points around the room. So for each one of our center tables or our group sections, we have a sign on the table that is our destination sign. So this is the one that I use for my greeting group. And then up here, they would put, I will have these laminated. There'll be Velcro up here or Velcro on the bottom. And on their schedule, their visual schedule, they'll have a Velcroed icon that says reading group at the time they're going to do it. And when they move to that table, they'll put their icon there and they know that's where they're going. So their visual schedules can take a couple different views depending on the student's needs. A lot of my students have a daily schedule that looks like this. These are quite often cut out, laminated, and then there'll be an icon next to them that they can remove and then take that to that destination that matches this icon. So you'll see a reading icon here that's on the physical strip. You'll see a reading icon here that's Velcroed and laminated, and when it's time for them to go to reading, they'll take their reading icon and they'll move to the reading center and then put that on the reading symbol that you saw on the last slide. These are really easy to make in their activities templates. So let's look at a few more. So for some of our students, I need to break that down even further into routines and sections of the day. So for instance, here is our morning routine schedule. So these are the sequence of things that they can expect to do in the morning. So first thing they do is they arrive on the bus. Second thing they do, they hang up their coat, put away their backpack, sit down, have a quiet voice, and then we start class. So these are printed and either laminated and put in their workbook or maybe taped to their station. Just depends on the student's needs. Some of my students use 1, 2, 3 charts or first next charts. So these would be used within that particular center. Oftentimes these are put in the student's actual workbook. So this tells them the sequence of events in that center. So in this case, this is the one that again goes with that reading center that we were seeing. First thing they will do is practice their word flashcards. These can be review or new words. The second thing they'll do is a reading activity. And the third thing they'll do is quiz or review. So this gives them the sequence of what they can expect to happen in that section. Particularly students with autism who are very routine dependent, these schedules are really helpful for them to know what is the routine, what are we going to do, what can I expect, and when will I be done? So the student knows at the end of number 3, once they've done that, they are done with the activity, and that really helps with some behavior mitigation because they know what they need to do. Okay, let's look at a few more of these. Now this is a much more complex one. This is a full week schedule with the activities for each day. This is used for students who don't need that period by period but just need to know what classes do they have in order. This is sort of the kindergarten one that I used with my K2 SDC class. So they knew what activities and how to plan their day. So on Monday they'd have math, snack, reading, etc. And they knew they had free choice right before they went home. You could adapt this for high school students as well. Have period 1, nutrition, period 2. You could label what the periods are. And this would be very useful for high school students. The high school that I teach at has a even odd schedule, which can be very confusing for SDC students who are used to having the same thing every day. So being able to say this is period 1, 3, 5, this is 2, 4, 6, and have that laid out on a schedule for them can be a lot easier to help them move from class to class. I know other schools who have a rotating schedule, which can be even more confusing for SDC classes, where you may have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and the next day starts 2, 3, 4, 5, 1. I know a lot of schools that do this kind of schedule, and this will give them sort of that map of, okay, what does my week look like, so I know I'm going to the right place at the right time. Widgit even allows you to alter the times up here. So let's say this class starts at 8 o'clock, not 8:30. The nice thing is Widgit will actually change the clock to reflect that time for you, so you don't have to go find that symbol. Really easy to edit, and really important for your students to be able to plan their week and understand where they need to be when. All right, we'll look at a few more here. I know a lot of students that really need that if-then. If I do this, what happens next? Sometimes that can be, okay, here is your activity, and then here is your free time choice. Sometimes I will leave this blank, and the students will have a reward chart of some possibilities. And I oftentimes use this as behavioral support. So if we do this, then they can choose an item for their reward board, put it here, and then they know if they do their reading, then they get their choice of activity or their choice of reward. This is very helpful for students who have refusal behaviors or avoidance behaviors. It gives them a plan. It reminds them of what they can have if they complete their activity. And sometimes I'll even use this during the activity if a student is starting to want to pull away from the activity or isn't attentive. I'll remind them first reading, then iPad, and that will help prompt them back into the task because it reminds them of what they're working for. All right. Another great behavioral aid are target charts. So these are charts that let the student or staff, I prefer to let the student do it because it's really important to teach them to monitor their behavior, for them to be able to reward themselves for doing something appropriately. So you can use all sorts of rewards. You can do stars or thumbs up or happy face, whichever one works for you. So this page would be cut out and laminated and Velcroed individually, and then as the students do one of these behaviors that we're targeting, then they get to put a star there, and maybe when they earn 4 stars, they earn a reward or something, or maybe we're just using those stars to say, hey, look how good you're doing. You got 3 stars for hanging up your coat. These are really good behavior tools. All right, thank you for joining me for this section of what to do with Widgit. Please like, share, and subscribe to see more great videos for how to use some of these resources in your classroom. And we'll see you soon.